nervous dog pacing here, and I have 2 more in kennels because they're being dog sat and it's their bedtime over there, but I will try to get through it in one take. So this is going to be, I guess, simple fixes for the getup for problems that I see very often. So they're mostly little things. All of these are going to be for someone who is, somewhat comfortable with the movement. You kind of know where all the positions are supposed to be. You're not going to hurt yourself doing it with a lightweight, but maybe you want to just get more efficient. Maybe you want to go heavier or something like that. So the first one comes after the roll to the elbow, actually. So once I'm here, I see a lot of people open or not open their arm. So they'll kind of go from this position to lifting and placing. All right. So what you should do is you should open, keeping your elbow in the same place, and then push from the heel of your palm and slide forward. It's going to be way more stable and a much easier transition with a heavier weight. I'll show it from the back. So I'm here. Instead of this, I'm going to open, making sure to keep my shoulder packed, and push from here, slide, and prop. All right. So when you've got a really heavy bell overhead, you don't want to be stuck in that kind of like half sitting up position without a support behind you when you're like picking up and placing your arm. Now, once I get to this position, the next step for me would be the low sweep. I bridge with light weights, especially when I want to like open my hip up, but when I'm going heavy, I tend to low sweep. And what I do is I just turn onto my left hip slightly and pull my heel into my crotch. That's it. So this is going to be easier than, people who low sweep and kind of like, it's a lot of excess movement and it tends to make you a little unstable under the bell. So I pull my heel in, and then as I prop myself up, I touch the ball of my foot first and then open my knee out. So my knee is going to be in line or maybe slightly outside of the line of my spine for stability. All right, so showing from here, pull the heel in. Obviously my eyes are going to stay on the bell. Touch, open. Okay, so that's going to help a lot with, when you lift your foot up and like there's a lot of butt clearance here. This can be, even if you have your eye on the bell, it's very easy to like lose the bell forward or lose your shoulder pack during that transition. So I mean, literally keeping your foot, the ball of your toe, and then your knee on the ground as you slide through, for me, just makes it much easier. Now, the next step from there, even if people have their hand lined up properly, kind of along the line of their non-working leg, there's a lot of leaning to the side to come up. A lot of this, right? Just the straight up side bend. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's going to be inefficient and possibly unsafe once you've got like a really heavy bell overhead. So what we're going to do once we've swept through and we're here at the hand, I'm going to push my hips back until this hand naturally becomes unweighted. So I'm not going to lift my hand up at all. I'm not going to try to bend up at all. The first step is, if you look here, my weight is going to be distributed between left hand and right foot. And now I'm going to unweight that left hand, pushing my butt over my left heel. From here, I just lift the hand up and I hip hinge to this position. So again, it's this, not this. All right, and it's safer and more stable because the bell has this structure supporting it the entire time, versus kind of projecting over just your arm away from this great support structure you've created with your legs. Now, once we've gotten to the half kneeling position, this is the stage where you should look forward. So you should have been watching the bell this whole time. At this point, you look forward. It's just because when we stand up, we don't want to be leaning back or anything, which sometimes happens if we try to keep looking at the bell. But first, there's going to be 2 things that happen. I'm going to show the windshield wiper. So windshield wiper the back foot. And then I'm going to move my front foot. I tend to move it back and toward me at a slight diagonal. Either way, I just want to set up a really stable lunge. What I don't want to do is not move the foot and be like struggling to balance and lunge. Maybe I'm a little like overextended here if that working foot is too far forward. All right, she's out of the way. The other part of this is I don't want to adjust both at once. I see a lot of people kind of going like this, or switching both positions. So it's first step windshield wiper, second step front leg pulls in, then I stand. Coming back down again, it's pretty much the same thing. I'm going to step back. First, I'm going to adjust my front foot. The reason I adjust my front foot first is I want to be stable for when this leg sweeps around. If I don't move the front foot first, this can be a little odd or awkward. So first, I set up my width, then I windshield wiper the back foot. All right. At this point, I'm going to start looking back up at the bell. The hip, again, it's going to go straight over my left foot or my left heel. So I'm not going to follow this way. I'm just going to push until my hand naturally touches the ground here. All right. And yeah, again, it should be pretty much in line with your femur here. It is possible, and I think maybe sometimes necessary, to go slightly behind. Just remember that this should not be a twisting movement or like a bending this way. It's just that I can hinge. I don't have to put my hand here. I can put it here if I feel that I really need to. Again, if the bell is heavy enough for that. So I'm gonna be here. Now again, I'm gonna keep as low clearance as possible here. Slide through and just sit. That's it. Then I can extend my leg and so forth. Quick note on the bell looking up thing. So I'll show this side. So like if I'm here and I'm looking at the bell and I keep looking at the bell as I stand up, it's easy for this to happen. It's easy to lean back and end up kind of like twisting away from the weight. It doesn't happen to everyone, but it's just good to try to avoid. I think I saw someone recently who he was looking at it, but he had no issue. Like his low back integrity was fine, his glutes and quads were active, and he was looking up, and he had plenty of shoulder mobility. But for most people, just once you get to half kneeling, stop looking at the bell, look straight ahead, and then look back up at the bell as you descend. So just a real quick summary at the end. Starting at the elbow heel here, I'm going to, keeping my shoulder packed, open the hand, push from the heel of the palm, again, not letting this happen at all. Push from the heel of the palm, slide forward. It's gonna be very stable here. There's no point, even if I'm sliding forward and something happens, I can kind of catch myself here. It's not like there's a moment where there's no support if I move my arm that way. Hopefully you saw the proper save here. So I'm here. Now to get through the low sweep, again, I pull the heel into the crotch first, and I just slide through, trying to maintain contact. So touch and open. And it's very critical, it's very critical, I think, that you touch and then think about opening that knee directly. A lot of people, especially if they do come straight through, they might end up just a little bit short, and you need to have this knee in line with your spine and hip here. So again, it's touch, open, obviously make sure you're on the ball of your foot, hinge, and again, the weight is being taken off the hand here. I am in no way lifting or leaning. And then I can windshield wiper or go this way, of course. If I am doing the directional change, just make sure that you end up in the right position in terms of, again, your feet being in line. So if I only do this, it's gonna be a little weird. I wanna make sure that I can get far enough. I generally try to put my front heel in line with my back ankle. And that just is a stable position for me. Obviously experiment, for yourself. Again, hinge, and just the hips going back is gonna make me put my arm on the floor, slide forward, and again, I'm not going to lift and reach. It just slides forward till I sit, and then I readjust as necessary. Two other quick kind of mental cues. I do really, really like the idea of making space with the elbow. So I'm not just trying to pull down. It's really hard to do that when you've got, a weight pressed out at extension. So from my elbow, I'm going to think about reaching up and making it tall, and at the same time pushing the shoulder down. So it's this, and that's a little easier to kind of engage and think about because you're still putting intent through the bell rather than just trying to pull it down. The second thing is really not trying to lift the weight at all. Most people at some stage of the get up, especially when you're going heavy, you're going to have this kind of like intention of, I need to pick this weight up, I need to move this weight higher. And really, as you move from the ground to your feet, just think about creating stable structural positions for the bell the entire time. Almost imagine the bell just kind of hanging there in the air, and you're moving yourself underneath it, just making sure it has a solid base the whole time, and then you can lunge to standing. Hope that helps.